I was on my way back from a basketball game, and back then, that's when the seatbelt laws weren't as strict as what they are today. So I'm leaned up in the back seat, I had two of my girlfriends, hanging out, and we run a stop sign, on accident, obviously. So what happened was we hit another car, and I was halfway ejected through the windshield. So when I went through, so imagine this, I turned myself over. When I turned myself over, I hit the jugular vein in my neck, was life-flighted to Cleveland Metro Hospital, had over 5,000 stitches in my face and throughout my body, and was conscious the entire time. Though, I don't remember anything, fortunately, right? But I did tell them, when I was on the life flight, to tell my mother and father that I loved them, and I was going to be fine. And it was. So, I spent 3 years in the hospital. I went through physical therapy. Let me just get a second.
We love you, Rachael!
Actually, funny story. Marissa said, if you start to cry, squeeze your butt cheeks.
Oh, great.
So, thank you. And that gave me a second. Thank you.
Rachael.
Always looking out. Yeah. So I went through physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. I was able to come home on the weekends, because I was up in Cleveland and I lived like an hour south. And, well, when I was in therapy, I met a boy, but I'll get back to that in a moment. So, I was in high school, and appearance is a lot, right? I didn't actually attend high school until my senior year, and I went back part-time. But, I had a lot to overcome. When you have to learn how to walk again, talk again, I was on life support. And one thing, when I was on life support, so this side of my face is wrapped. I had, scars throughout. My ear was cut in half. My neck was probably the worst at the time, but it's the smoothest at the, right now. I was in surgery for 13 hours, and I actually hadn't had any surgery since then. So, yeah. I've taken really good care of my skin. I didn't have any feeling in the left side of my face for over a year, so I drooled when I talked. My smile was crooked. And when I was in the hospital, I had this little dripper, right? This button that you press. And so this whole side of my face was wrapped up, and I kept hiding it. And I kept telling my sister that I itched. She understood sign language. And she just kept, I could only say one thing, and she's like, Rachael keeps saying that she itches, that she's itched. And they had a piece of paper here, and I would write down that I itched. At one point, when they weigh you when you're in the hospital, they put you on a blanket underneath you and you can't move, and they lift you up, right? And I was 25 pounds heavier than what I typically was. So I kept telling her, LBS, pounds. And so it made sense once they took me off the morphine, and all of my swelling went down. They couldn't see the rashes on my body because it was so bruised. So allergic to morphine on top of all that, right?
Oh no.
Yeah. So once I was off the morphine, it was good. But going through all of this, I had my own personal milestones. Meaning, I don't even remember what kind of drugs I was on, but there was 4 bars. And I was I gotta get down to 3 bars. I gotta get down to 2 bars, because I was trying to get myself off this medication because I didn't like how it made me feel. I knew that. I just felt like I wasn't in control of myself. So basically in life, it's tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna do it. Because I was given a second chance. That's how I've kind of always been since a young age. I mean, this happened 2 decades ago. So to me, it just seems like it's not part of what I even need to talk about. But I feel that since I work for a cosmetic company, if you would have told me when I was 14 that I would be, the vice president of a cosmetic company, I'd be you're crazy, no way. So that was one portion. That was one stint in the hospital. The second stint in the, let me show you. So this was I don't even know, several months after, because I was at home. I came home on the weekend, but my eyes were just bloodshot. You can see it from the severity on my neck. You can kind of tell how the left side of my face was swollen. Didn't have any feeling in my forehead. I still have minimal feeling in my forehead. Oh, that's besides the point. So my second stint in the hospital was when I had my daughter. So I went in the hospital at 24 weeks. I had extra amniotic fluid, which either means Down syndrome or fissure of the esophagus. And I chose to not find out if she had Down syndrome because it didn't matter. I didn't care, right? So I went in at 24 weeks, and I was on magnesium, and I don't know if anybody's ever been on that. It's horrible. Like, you can't even focus, right? Like, and I was, because I was in ICU, I couldn't eat. I was on a liquid diet for 4 weeks. And I'd had the swine flu previous in my pregnancy, like earlier on in my pregnancy. So I'm laying there, bedridden, because I was dilated, about to give birth, at any given time. They were able to give me 2 rounds of steroids, which was great, to like help with the development of her lungs. And I delivered a little baby girl at 29 weeks. So she was 2 pounds, 8 ounces. And she was in the hospital for 4 months. So it's just crazy, right? But I didn't know any different. All I knew is it was happening to me because I could deal with it. I knew that if I had a child with any type of, disability, I'm going to make sure she gets what she needs. So, very fortunately, they also prepped me that she was going to have to have a feeding tube as soon as I delivered. They were going to have to rush her away. I may not be able to see her. So I was prepped for all of that. I hadn't registered. I didn't have anything. I actually didn't even find out if I was having a boy or girl because I was just so happy to have a baby. I didn't care, So it was just awesome. So 2 pounds, 8 ounces. She was in the hospital for 4 months. And when you bring your baby home from the hospital, the cart seats are from 5 pounds and over. So she's like 4.6 pounds at this point. So she kept failing the car seat test. But I honestly, I'm like, stay, keep her. Because I didn't know what I was doing. And I just wanted to make sure that she was okay. I didn't know, I just didn't. I had her at 31 years old. I never even thought I was going to have a baby. It just wasn't, I didn't think in my cards. So the best thing that happened, let me show you this, my little 10-year-old. Now listen, this little girl has more confidence in her pinky than most women I know because she's like, look at me, I got glasses and braces. She is proud of that. And she is the spunkiest, sparkiest little girl in the world. She does have severe ADHD, so she'd be here doing cartwheels right now, but it's okay. And I don't medicate her, and that's just my choice. And so she's super hyper, but she's super adorable and loving and all of that. So she is a lot of the reason I do what I do because I want her to see, as a woman, you can do it. So, yeah. Now this next portion is the first time I talked about it, and several people even at corporate don't know. So, another moment, please.
We love you!
Thanks.
Pinch those cheeks!
So remember when I told you I met a boy in physical therapy? So he was a burn patient. And so we were like 14, I think he was 13. And when I went back to school for my senior year, he was at the career center as well. So we kind of reconnected. And I married him. He was the love of my life. He was an extreme sports guy. That's how he got burnt. And he was doing a jump on a dirt bike, the 80-foot jump, broke his sternum, his collarbone, his wrist. And he got addicted to painkillers. So, for a year and a half, it was prescribed to him.
We love you. We love you.
So for a year and a half, it was prescribed to him by the doctors. So when he got off of it, I saw that he was in pain. I saw it, He would use the heating pad, he would take the jacuzzi bath, all of these type things. And so then he started buying them, right? I started buying them off the street. I'm like, well, he needs them, I can see it. And then once I caught him snorting them, I'm like, there might be a problem, right? And I was like, I can't do this. I want more for you, I wanted more for my marriage. And so I left. And I thought that he wouldn't be able to live without me, because how could you not live without me? Right?
Right!
Well, apparently he could, So we ended up getting a divorce, and I never divorced his family. His mother was like a second mother to me. His sister lives in Utah. When I moved to Utah, I lived with her for 3 months before I got my own place. She's one of my best friends. And on my 40th birthday, which was last year, he murdered his parents and hung himself. everyone you meet, because everyone's fighting a hard battle. You don't know what people are going through. So I have a choice. I don't have a job, I have a career. And I represent the largest country that you need support. And each and every single one of you. And I knew I still had to show up every day. I took about a 2-week stint, because I came home for the holidays, and I think I've told 4 presenters about what happened to me, and 3 of them are in this room. I just kept it to myself, I didn't even talk about it at corporate. Only a couple people at corporate news, because they were in my office when I got the message and they saw me drop to the floor. So, and even this last year, it makes you evaluate, I've always surrounded myself with good people. I always have, professionally. Personally, the family's your family. You gotta love them, no matter what. And then other people that I had in my life, I may have just been, ignoring things or pushing things aside, whatever, just not dealing with that aspect, which really made me evaluate my life again and appreciate what I have and why I'm here and what my purpose is. So I am beyond honored and blessed and grateful that I'm your regional vice president.